I already know this is going to be a tragic video. Anyway, I went to garden centre in Rosie the Rover the other day. I was in there for about half an hour. It's about 10 mile away, 8 mile away, whatever. I was in the garden centre about half an hour. Come back out, she wouldn't start. She cranked, wouldn't start, couldn't hear the fuel pumps. Now, the last time it did that, I was down in the Oxfordshire Mansion, and I'd just literally driven 20 minutes and stopped and get some fuel. So I'm playing with the pen, I'm easily distracted. And the fuel pump fuse had gone. So I thought, oh, same thing's happened. So I looked at the fuse, which is fuse 20 under the glove box, 30 amp. It was fine. So that was the extent of my mechanical knowledge exhausted. Now, I knew it was an electrical issue, so I thought, right, we'll have a look at the relays, because I know there's one under the bonnet, which is, it's listed as sort of engine management, but I know it's like it's a power feed for the fuel pumps and stuff like that. So I had a look under the relay box, fuse box under the bonnet, picture. It's a generic one, it's not my car. And obviously all I did was swap over some of the relays, because there's three or four there that are the same. I think it's 3 actually that are the same, and I just swapped those around. Well, I think one's for the air conditioning fans and some, you know, whatever. Turn the ignition on, and hey presto, fuel pump's working. So I thought, right, I've got a sticky relay then. So I've just replaced them all, because obviously they're going to be older than the car. The car's 21, them relays could be 25-year-old plus. So basically, relay, what is it? Let's have a look. I was going to do a magic fade then, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to put the camera down. Here we go. So that is inside the Tyco 12 volt fuses. And basically this, I'm going to use a magic pointing device. This is the hinged aperture, and there's usually a spring attached to it, but in this case there's a plate, a spring plate, and that's designed just to keep the aperture separated, because this is the electromagnet. Now when that is energized, that is basically copper wire wrapped around an iron core usually, and when it's energized it forms an electromagnet. Now what you can probably see down here is that is the contact there. So when it's energized, it closes the contact. Now relays are most commonly used, let's say for example, if you were putting driving lights on your car or additional lights onto your motorcycle or stuff like that, and the lights were, say, a higher wattage or amperage than the standard wiring can handle, you would put a relay in, because the relay will take the load. Often designed to split a low current to a high current safely. If you don't put a relay in, you risk setting fire to your loom. It's as simple as that. So that's why you have relays. So they'll always need a signal. They'll need a power in, and they'll need a signal, which can be sent by the ECU, or it can be, you know, sent by a toggle switch, whatever. What I've done, I've drawn a spectacular diagram. Oh, Christ, I can't get my words out again. I've drawn a spectacular diagram that Rolf Harris would be extremely impressed with. It's a little boy with his little... Well, we don't go down there. I'll be getting banned. Anyway, that is a typical 4-pin relay, often called a make or break, because it's either making a contact or breaking a contact. This is shown in its closed active position, and basically what it would be is, say you're putting auxiliary lights in, pin 86 is always a feed, and 85 is always a ground. You can do those the other way around. It's not polarity specific unless there's a diode in there, and then it has to become polarity specific. But in our application, say this is for lights, extra lights, This would be, say you were tapping into high beam. So this would be high beam signal wire. Look at that, Tony Art, eat your art out. So this would be our signal wire, which would be, say, you jacked into the high beam or side light or whatever you wanted. But that would be your plus 12 volt feed into the coil. Your other one goes to ground, body ground preferably, or you can ground to an existing ground, whatever. That is going to be your output, 87. But from here, pin 30, you would have your plus 12 volt, ooh, that's not very good, is it? Battery fused link going in. So that could come from, let's say, an accessory socket from your fuse box, which is live with ignition or live all the time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this feed is live all the time, because it's not going to do anything without the signal wire input. So basically it would normally be open, you'd flick your high beam, the electromagnet would work, pull the contact together, and it'd become closed. Look at that technical brilliance. And then that power light would then go out to your auxiliary lights, but you've separated the circuits so you're nice and safe. That's basically how it works. Now, just for safety's sake, because of the age of these relays, relays rarely give trouble. The typical 12 volt automotive relay typically has between 50 to 100,000 operations in it before it's got a chance of going bad. It's not always the case, you know, just because it's new doesn't mean it's good. But if you've got the contact can fuse and it can arc, just like the contact on the starter solenoid on Nibbler did. I bought a cheap Chinese starter solenoid, which is basically the same thing as a relay, and that fused together, that welded itself together, which was great fun at the petrol station when you turn the ignition off the bike and it's still cranking. Anyway, so yeah, so that's basically what I've done. I've replaced the relays purely because of age. I've got mine from Rimmer Brothers. That is the code number. Can you see that? Focus, you fuck. And there's 3 of those under the bonnet, and you got a couple of green ones as well that control other stuff. So I've got some spare ones of those from Rimmer Brothers. I did look on discount MG Rover spares, but I couldn't see any relays. But then again, I wasn't looking that hard. So that's it for today then. Yeah, so if you can't hear your fuel pump and all that lot, don't go jumping to conclusions. Check your relays purely because of the age, and that goes for any other electrical system that's not working. Basically, if it's not the fuse, if the fuse is okay, you can always disconnect the fuse boards and check for power and grounds behind the circuit that's faulty and stuff like that. But yeah, first things first, do the easy stuff. Right, that's it. Thanks for sharing, liking, subscribing and all that begging bollocks. Yeah, we're now up to see something like 491 subscribers. It's unreal. So yeah, shout out to Mr. Boaty and Roverman Paul. I'm loving their content. I'm also started watching a new channel. Well, it's a new channel to me, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. I'll put it down here. But it's a guy who fixes like old 90s gaming systems and stuff like that. And he is an amateur, and he does it for pleasure. And there's something highly therapeutic about watching somebody resolder and fix a circuit board. I don't know what it is. I find it as therapeutic as watching somebody strip an engine and stuff. So I'll put his link down in the description as well. But anyway, ta-ra guys, bye bye.